The Trademark Information Network opening animation plays, featuring a spinning trademark registration symbol and the phrase TMIN News. A TV newsroom is shown, with Grant Gainsworth sitting at the anchor desk. Scrolling text at the bottom of the screen reads, United States Patent and Trademark Office. Search on TES. File on TEAS.
Have you received a notice of allowance? Is the deadline approaching for your statement of use? Are you unsure what these documents are and what to do about them? Well, you've come to the right place. Over the next few minutes, we'll explain what a statement of use is, why it's necessary, and what you will need to complete the form. We'll also discuss what to file if the due date is approaching and you're not quite ready to submit your statement of use. Finally, we'll cover what you may be able to do if you've missed your filing deadline. In order to understand the specifics of the form, however, we need to take a step back and take a look at a larger concept, basis.
A TV monitor is seen behind his right shoulder, which will show graphics that mirror the spoken word.
If you remember the earlier news broadcast about basis, you might remember that the most commonly used filing basis in the United States is Section 1, and that there are two options under Section 1, Section 1A and Section 1B. Section 1A means that you are already using the mark in commerce, and Section 1B means that although you are not yet using the mark in commerce, you have a bona fide intent to do so. If you're unfamiliar with what is meant by use in commerce, think about it this way. Use in commerce means that you have an ongoing business and actively are offering your goods or services across state lines or internationally.
A graphic of T. Markey brand shoes being sold across state lines is shown.
For goods, use in commerce generally involves selling your goods across state lines with a mark displayed on the goods themselves or the packaging for the goods, like shoes that are made in one state and sold nationwide.
A graphic of a T. Markey brand gas station is shown.
For services, use in commerce generally involves offering a service to customers in another state or rendering a service that affects interstate commerce, like restaurants and gas stations and hotels.
Back to Grant at the anchor desk.
And use in commerce doesn't have to be just in the United States. It can involve commerce between you and a U.S. territory or a foreign country. As long as your use of the mark isn't solely within one state, you've met the requirements. This is important because in order to move your application forward to registration, you must be using your mark in commerce. That means that if you currently have a Section 1B basis in your application, you must amend it to Section 1A to register your mark. This is true even if you had used your mark prior to filing, but nonetheless filed under Section 1B.
The phrase Section 1B combines with the phrase Statement of Use, and they both combine with the phrase Section 1A.
The form used to make this amendment is the Statement of Use, or SOU. It allows you to turn your Section 1B application into a Section 1A application, one of the final hurdles to registration of your mark.
Back to Grant at the anchor desk.
And after all, that's why you filed the application in the first place, right? Now, you might be wondering how you know it's time to file your Statement of Use. It's very simple. You will receive a document called a Notice of Allowance. It's sometimes called a NOA or an NOA.
A notice of allowance is shown.
The Notice of Allowance means that your mark is passed through the publication phase and may almost be ready to register. The only step that remains is proving that you are using your mark in commerce by filing the Statement of Use.
A close-up of the 6-month clause is shown.
The document also starts the clock ticking. You only have 6 months from the date of the Notice of Allowance to either submit the Statement of Use or request an extension of time to file the Statement of Use. To avoid abandonment, make sure to comply with a 6-month deadline.
Back to Grant at the anchor desk.
So, now that you understand why you need to file the Statement of Use and when you need to file it, let's discuss the specifics of what you will encounter in the online form. You will be asked to provide the following: the date when you first used the mark, the date when you first used the mark in commerce, a signed declaration that you are now using the mark in commerce for the identified goods and services, a specimen of use, and the filing fee. Once you file the statement of use, be aware that registration is not guaranteed. The USPTO will review the statement of use and may find issues that must be addressed. For example, the submitted specimen may not show valid trademark use. If you filed a trademark application before or have watched any of the earlier broadcasts, you might already know what is meant by a specimen of use. As a reminder, a specimen shows how you use your mark in commerce in connection with your goods or services.
Examples of a label, a hang tag, and advertising are shown.
It could be a label, a container, or a hang tag for goods, or an advertisement if you applied for services.
A screenshot of the specimen section of the SOU is shown.
The form requires you to submit your specimen digitally, so be sure to have a digital photograph or a copy of the specimen in JPEG or PDF format.
Back to Grant at the anchor desk, where a screenshot of the TMIN specimen video link is shown.
If you need more information about specimens or just want a refresher, be sure to watch the Specimens News broadcast, which provides examples and explanations of acceptable submissions. Now, you might be wondering, what if I've received a notice of allowance, but I haven't yet used the mark in commerce, or I can't find an acceptable specimen to submit? Well, if that's the case, you can request an extension of time to file a statement of use. To request an extension, use the provided form, but be sure to keep in mind the time and circumstances under which you may file an extension request are limited. You must file it on or before the date your statement of use is due. Each extension request only lasts for 6 months, and you may only file up to 5 extension requests. After the first request, you must state your ongoing efforts to use the mark when requesting any more extensions, and remember, there is a filing fee for each request.
The ongoing efforts section of the extension request form is shown.
The online form provides checkboxes for the most common types of acceptable ongoing efforts, such as product or service research or development, market research, and promotional activities.
Back to Grant at the anchor desk.
If you miss the filing deadline for the statement of use or the extension request, the USPTO will consider your application abandoned. And in order to revive it, you must file a petition to revive, generally within 2 months of the abandonment date, and pay a petition fee. You may also have to comply with other requirements. There is no guarantee you will be able to revive your application if it goes abandoned, so keep a close eye on your application status. For more detailed information about petitions, be sure to watch the Petitions News broadcast, also available on the USPTO website. When you're ready to file your forms, it is strongly recommended that you use the Trademark Electronic Application System, or TEAS, T-E-A-S. You may have used TEAS to file your initial application.
The intent to use TEAS forms are shown.
There are TEAS forms for both the statement of use and the request for extension of time to file the statement of use. Simply open the Intent to Use Forms page and select the form that applies to your situation. The forms include lots of information and helpful links, so be sure to read them thoroughly before submitting.
The petition to revive TEAS form is shown.
And although you hopefully won't need it, TEAS can also be used to file a petition to revive form.
Back to Grant at the anchor desk.
And those are the basics. Just remember, in order to register your mark under Section 1, you must show the USPTO that you have used your mark in commerce. So, if you initially filed your application under the Section 1B intent to use basis, you must file a statement of use to prove that you're using the mark in commerce. And the easiest way to do so is by using the TEAS form. Feel free to replay this broadcast at any time and click on any of the links within the forums for more information. And keep an eye out for more of these broadcasts through the website. I'm Grant Gainsworth, Trademark Information Network.
The USPTO seal is shown.